What's up? Respect. It's kind of weird doing that now, and all of the things that have happened. It's kind of weird wearing this particular outfit with this kind of hair. It just doesn't fit. It's kind of crazy, but it's really kind of poetic to go back to all of these things and just be able to do what is now me. And it's kind of different to how things were and how things were then, like years ago. It's crazy how to think that it's already been half a decade since I started this journey of craziness, and it's getting crazier by the day. And it's one of the best decisions I've ever made. And full disclosure, what I'm going to talk about here is not a complete adaptation. Not only is it impossible, it's unethical to be completely what this character is. And what I'm trying to say is this is how an animated series taught me how to live. That title in itself is a play around a particular video about this particular character that I actually saw but never watched. But it's one of those thumbnails that helped me think that maybe I should watch or research about this particular character in the first place. So I'll put the link in the description of the actual video and the thumbnail that it had. I actually just watched it like a couple of months ago. That's how much I saved it in order for me to somewhat have my own interpretation of what this character is. And I'm talking about none other than the greatest teacher to ever live, Great Teacher Onizuka. It's one of those series or manga, whatever your preference is, wherein you will get something out of it, depends on how your outlook is in life. To give full context, I graduated college back in 2019 when I was 19 years old, and I really have no idea how to be a teacher. So I was 19 at that time when I got hired, and I was teaching students that are in the ninth grade, where in our cases, some of my youngest students are 14, 15. I have students that are around the age 16 and 17. So the age gap between us was just a little small. So it's to give that context, it was insane to be a teacher at that point, and it's in a private school, a Catholic school at that. And there were some conversations before because I still don't know how this thing works. Wherein they're like, "Can we call you Kuya Patrick?" I was like, "Bruh, I'm your teacher. Why would you call me that? That's inappropriate." So I was still struggling to create this wall, while at the same time being this teacher I really want to be. And I do not know how to do that yet. So my first year was fun because it was me learning, but it was also frustrating and tiring. And then it didn't even have the actual ending that you would want from teaching because of the pandemic. So my first actual teaching year is ended because of the pandemic. So it was a random afternoon. They were like, "Yo, instead of ending this week and everyone going home, we're all going home." It was all uncertain. You do not know what to do next. Then we got stuck in, like, I'm not even kidding. Like my earliest classrooms during Zoom is kind of like this. So that's that. I don't know why, but it's kind of the vibe that it gets. Like there's nothing but this the plain white background or something like that. You're trying to figure out how to teach. I was a horrible PowerPoint presenter before, so that was really something that I really had to work on during the pandemic. The reason why I'm giving that context before I dive in deep with this is because it was during December of 2020 when it was our Christmas break, wherein I was really exhausted and I do not know if I should teach anymore, to the point that I had a lot of frustrations, especially with my setup, with everything falling apart. Then I finally decided to watch the anime after holding it off for a long time because I really have that. It's not necessarily like quirk, but I don't know how to call it. I just really love listing things that I would like to read, watch, or do, and then do them at the time that I feel like I should do it. Like for this particular animated series, it took me years for me to actually watch it, and it came at a perfect time, and I finished it back in December 19, 2020. And the reason why I know the date of the day that I finished watching it It's because I immortalized it using a Facebook post. Yes, very uncle of me, stating "Great Teacher Alcantara," and not everyone will get that reference, and they're like, "Why is this guy too high on himself?" Well, I was high on life at that time, so I was probably drinking when I when I posted that. I don't know. I really had an alcohol problem when I was young. But anyway, the point is, this particular animated series is difficult to also explain in a classroom setting, specifically in a Catholic school, and at the same time to teenagers. And at the same time, if their parents ask, "What's a great teacher Alcantara? What's a GTA? Is that Grand Theft Auto?" Nope, much worse. It's me. And it's just the funny thing about it is the first episode alone, and I also read the first ch- chapter of this manga. It's much worse. If you told kids to, hey, watch this thing, this is where I got this inspiration from to be the greatest teacher to ever live. And the first, like I said, this is not a full adaptation of the character, but the idea was how this even started is Onizuka just there, like wearing this. I think if my memory serves me right, and then he's just doing that while smoking a cigarette, and then just washing students. It's messed up. But anyway, that's not the point. And that's really the weird thing about anime that not really a big fan of the that kind of thing. But anyway, if you look past that and you just watch the insanity that happens every single episode, you'll like the character. If you take off that perverted side of him and just focus on he's still a pervert, but when you look at the a little acceptable pervertedness of Onizuka, and then just enjoy the insanity and the seriousness at times, and it's something that really talked to me at that time, and I was like, I'm gonna be like that guy. I'm gonna be the greatest teacher that I could ever be, thanks to Onizuka. And I used that mantra, the great teacher Alcantara, not because I'm too high of myself, but because of how I believe in myself that I could be something like that. Because I never really wanted to be a teacher in the beginning. I was asked for a long time, why did I become a teacher? First thing, that's what my sister did. That's what my cousins did. That's what my uncles and aunts did. And it was the only accessible school for our time. These are one of the things that I can say that I relate to with Onizuka. I am poor like Onizuka. I have horrible grades like Onizuka when I was in college in particular. I was I had my best friends in college actually do my exams. There was even a point where it was like a removal exam, and I was really sleeping through it. It was actually my friends who answered it, but for some weird reason, I think karma did it. Like our professor forgot to somewhat give me a grade, so they just like, just repeat it. So I had to repeat it, but they answered my exam for me a lot of times. That's how. And there's a character here which is Ryuji, which is the best friend. So I do have my own personal Ryuji. I think there's a couple of them combined into one. They really carried me to throughout college, and I was really the guy who's always asleep. So I was like Onizuka. I really don't care. Just like Onizuka, especially during my youth, I was into smoking cigarettes and getting drunk and just out of it. I was really going nuts. And the funny thing is, I was as goofy as him during my youth, and I didn't know how to translate it well as a teacher because in the animated series, as a teacher, he's also a goofball and a crazy one at that. So during the pandemic, what I did was after posting that title, Great Teacher Alcantara, I started working on things by the beginning of the year, which is by early 2021. I started giving more time to the kids, and it's not in a way that I haven't been or something that I'm not doing before. It's just something much more efficient. So I started talking to them more, not necessarily about their personal things or personal life, but more on what they really like what are they really passionate about. Even because before, like in Zoom meetings, you have to wait for the class to start, so we have those downtimes before. So I used to open it early, and then some students who became like the loyals or like the locals of it, Like they go in there like 10 to 20 minutes early, and then we're just chatting. Like we're telling stories about like our passion in these things. There was even a part wherein I started learning how to draw, and my students just bash them, and it's a fun thing for me to do. Like for them to criticize it, it's just a fun thing to do. It's because it's giving us a way to somewhat connect on something like with interest, and then sooner or later, I started incorporating what I learned from them with the things that they like to how I teach the classes. That is something that you cannot just usually do or really do a lot of times, but it's something that I actually learned from Onizuka. And it actually got better as years passed by. I thought that I would be the greatest teacher to ever live by the time that I hit 22, because that's what the anime was all about. Like, Onizuka was 22 years old. There's a line there, which I actually redid. Because first, I'm still making these projects, and it was supposed to be my big project last year, but this is the video. So, hello there, I'm the Great Teacher Alcantara. My hobbies are dressing up and surfing the internet. I'm 24 years old, and here's my number. And it actually came from the anime. And when I saw that, I was like, that's really true. Because just like him, it's really sad. I'll talk about it next week. But yes, just like him, that was me. And that's how I introduce myself. So that's why my students at times like, sir, when are you going to get your Fuyutsuki in some way? And the thing about it is that with this particular character and being the great teacher Alcantara, I thought that it's a fever dream that is difficult to wake up from. But due to unforeseen circumstances that I do not want to dwell on anymore, we have to move past that. My final year, I never thought that I'll actually be that guy. And I decided to rewatch the anime one episode at a time per week. And funny enough, by the last week that I had my contract with the school, that was when the anime ended too. So it was really poetic to look at it too. So at first I was really hesitant, but I just did that as a way for me to have something to look forward to every week. So I had to rewatch all of those episodes, and I get to learn more about Onizuka and how he dealt with things. Onizuka taught me in a lot of ways how to be a teacher, how you command yourself. Because ever since that I became a teacher, I never really wanted to be the teacher who was just. I'm just kidding. I'm doing this. I'm a nice guy. Anyway, the point is, I don't want to be that teacher. I don't want to be that teacher. I want to be this guy, whatever this is. It's a corny teacher, a funny teacher, a goofy teacher, a teacher everywhere, and everything that he could be. And it's something that I'm really proud of that I was able to do, because it gave me something that I needed at that time. Something to save me from the insanity behind the scenes, which is something that you can see with Onizuka, with his character also. And that's what I love about the anime. It's not afraid to show what Onizuka really feels outside the classroom, but when things get serious, he's really onto it. And I've had multiple students, hundreds and thousands by now, that have somewhat heard the story. But the point is, when I had my last year, they the school was like, yo, let's have like a wash day during Friday. And I was like, that seems nice. So I'm observing all of my co-teachers and how they dress up during Fridays. And they're like, that guy wore like brown pants. That one wore gray pants. That's blue and all that. And I had a lot of tattoos. So one of the things that I really do is really wear like jackets all the time. So I started buying these things, cheap ones. Think Shopee. So I started wearing these outfits and even buying ties and wearing them and dressing up as different characters. Some of the outfits that I did are for the sake of just trying to find the in-betweens and copying some of Onizuka's images. So I followed that. And then as the earlier weeks, I started working on PowerPoint presentations, which I think I really got good at, and used the references in there as part of the whole routine. So not only am I dressing up, but also the lesson is designed for that. And I've had cosplays like Little Prince because one of our English co-teachers, which is one of my closest unks out there. I'm sorry, Sir Ed. Yeah, he's really old now. I'm really sorry I'm old too. But the point is, he just called me Little Prince randomly. So I was like, huh? And I never liked Little Prince before, but when I read it again because of how it went, I loved it. But I'm more of a lamplighter, I guess. But needless to say, I dressed up as the Little Prince and I had a presentation which is the Little Prince, which is one of my favorites that I did. It's about permutations. And then I also dressed up as oh god, I also dressed up as Nanami from Jujutsu Kaisen because I really like Jujutsu Kaisen and I really like Nanami, so I dressed up as Nanami. It was goofy. I also dressed up as what else did I dress? Oh, I dressed up as Daredevil because I dressed up as a Daredevil because my friend just randomly messaged me like, "Yo, do you want to go try this trampoline park or some stuff?" So I did it, and 5 minutes in, I we do not have the video, but it really broke so much that we heard like it popped. I don't know if it broke or I just sprained it. I don't know because I don't go to hospitals. So my foot really got messed up, my right foot. But I still continued because it's an entire hour and it's worth 600 pesos. So I still stayed there. And then it was a struggle to ride a motorcycle at that time. So I had to really carry a cane. So I had to dress up as Matt Murdock for like 2 days because I was really that sick. And there was even times when I'm dressing up as the Punisher. I'm dressing up as Simon Pegg from The World's End. It was actually during my birthday because that's really what I really like to wear during my birthday. That Simon Pegg character. It's really one of my favorites too. And then all those things with all these lessons. Even at that time, the craziest thing that I ever did is dressing up during the Ask Week. That's like one of the biggest days in school wherein they get rated if blah 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 this like all those accreditation stuff. I don't really care about it. But our lesson is about probability. So there's card tricks and all that. I didn't really watch Kakegurui, but I had to watch a few episodes and it's too much for me. But I had to watch it because I cosplayed Kakegurui for the first day. I don't know, like the Kakegurui outfit. So I did it for the first day. We learned some magic tricks. And then during the second day, I dressed up as the Joker. Of course, no makeup and all. I can't do that. That's too much. But that was fun too. And I did that during the week that it's really important for the school, but nobody stopped me. They were just like, "Oh, here he goes again." It's like they know it that they know that I'm too much, but they accepted me for who I was, and I thank them for that. And and then came like even a point where in during the prom, I was dressed up as Spike Spiegel from Cowboy Bebop. So I really enjoy those things. And I got to learn more about the kids. And I've had different ways in how to approach them to the point that I wasn't an advisor at that time, but I knew almost everybody in the batch, whether they're my students or not. And I just interacted them as genuinely as I can because I'm not really faking the idea of it. I actually live the character to the point that it was my way out of what I've been dealing with for that particular year. And this anime every week. Funny enough, when there are some circumstances at school where everything's messy, it's the same episode, and it's like this is really talking to me. Like, there's even a class at times not speaking at all. I'm like, are you guys dead? And my sister is a teacher in school for the deaf here in the country, and my brother who's a goofball too. It's like during our youth, he's like, "Yo, what's up, homie? Respect." He's doing that, and she's doing that for a long time. And I integrated that in my class before, but I never introduced how to do the sign language of it. So I had to look into it. So this is what's up. So from below, you bring it up. Then respect is an R, and then you point forward to whoever you wish to give respect to. So I taught them that, but just because one class wasn't talking too much, so that might be slightly offensive for some, but that was not the intention. The intention was to somewhat find ways to contextualize what they think and what they're doing, and somewhat grab their attention back to the lessons. Like a lot of things, especially in mathematics, is that it lacked contextualization. Like where do we apply it in real life? And not all the time will we be able to do it. But one of the things that I really enjoyed, like even to a point that the ideas come from the students and just trying to reach them in different ways. Like I even started making stickers with the self-proclaimed GTA stickers, just giving it to the kids. Like it's just some fun things that I really did. And Onizuka did all of these outlandish things that I did in my own way for my students because it's the right thing to do. I was never the teacher who will curse out a student, who will be so strict, who will be too serious, who will be too smart. No, I'm not that. I'm not that smart. I'm not that kind of teacher. I was dumb. I was goofy. I was crazy. I'm talkative like this. But when there's time to be silent or serious, I can do that too. Like it's really insane. And that's why my students are like, "Sir, what mood are you in today?" And they're laughing at it. I'm like, we'll see. And it's like the character and the insanity of it. And to think that now that name, Great Teacher Alcantara, is ingrained with all of my students just because a dumb teacher did it. It's all thanks to Onizuka and all the things that he taught me. As a kid, growing up poor and being pushed to an environment that you're not used to, like, not everybody liked me. Like, a lot of students were really pushing me away. But in some cases, not everybody will be into what you're doing, but you'll get some of them. And I'm happy to look back at it and see how much friends I made along the way because maybe it's not me, it's really the friends that you make along the way that really matters. And now, journeying into it, I thought at first that I would take a similar path with how the anime ended to what I'll be doing. But I was really exhausted with teaching that I decided to do a different work instead and be great at something else, which is also some of the parts in the anime. Like he said, like I'm just gonna be a great driver or whatever, sailor or man or whatever. But I did become a great agent for a while, which is goofy to say. That side of me I wasn't really even trying. It was just out of luck, I guess, and I became good at it and just found ways to not make it like the life that I have. And now I'm back, not necessarily as this character. I doubt that it's going to come back. Like my accent there just went out the window. But the point is, I'm never going to be as young as that guy again. I'm never going to be as reckless as that guy again. The reason I was able to do it is because I knew for a fact in my heart that was my last year, and I want to live up to the expectations of being the quote unquote great teacher. I lived the moniker. It was exhausting, but it was the best thing that I've ever done. That was my most exciting and rewarding academic year because not only did I learn more about myself, not only did I make these bonds or connections with the students, but I've learned how to live. Like how to live not just inside the classroom but outside of it. I learned how to be present and how important it is for these kids to have someone like me who is expandable, who could be whatever they wanted to be at that moment. And it's not healthy if you're someone who doesn't know what to do with all those weight, but it's a weight that was worth carrying at that time, and I was able to maximize it to be able to just live. It was fun. It was crazy. And one of the best things about it is I finally learned to let go of it. A couple of days ago, it's like the 1 year death anniversary of the character. The last thing that I ever did is also cosplay. And this time around is Koro Sensei, which is also another anime, right? So combining all those characters, I decided to dress up as him to somewhat quote unquote kill the great teacher, wherein I gave the students a little peek behind the curtain, just like this. Like where did that character start and where the character ended was in those classrooms. And when I look back at it, it gave like a final message like I do not want to celebrate it anymore because I'm leaving it at that. And that character, Onizuka, with all the stupidity that he gave me ideas with all the outlandish things my students said I'll never do, but I did. All those things that I did in the class. How my co-teachers were always like, "Is there even a teacher in the classroom? Why is everybody standing up?" And they're like, "Yo, that's her Alcantara right there in the middle. Oh, he's there. We thought there's no teacher." Like there are points in like my class where like, where's your teacher? Who's your teacher? I'm like, I'm here. That's how it worked. So it's just outlandish, and it's the best thing I ever did. So yeah, so it's been a year since the last time that I ever discussed anything inside four walls of a classroom, and in the next couple of days will be my first time being back inside a classroom, but as a student. So I've been studying for 2 weeks now, and currently it's like online, but now we're back to on site, and I cannot wait to be there. I cannot wait to be the greatest student that I could ever be, and I'll be back to teaching in the next 2 or 3 years. It's something to look forward to. But as for now, happy death anniversary to the great teacher Alcantara. May he rest in peace. As for Elray Patrick, he's here. Finally woke up from the dream that was being the great teacher and just living the life. The great teacher provided me with all of the insanity of taking risk and just being myself and not letting others stop me from doing what I really wanted to do. Because there's only one life. All of those things that I wasn't supposed to do, especially as a teacher in a Catholic school, and that will not be possible without their help because they knew at the time that I was really not myself and I needed that and became the best decision ever. So I really thank them for the 5 years that I spent teaching in the academy and just letting me go crazy. Because it was crazy. Yeah, it will never be as good as that. But I know for a fact that life is just going to go great and great and great. And so, as for me, after being a great teacher, agent, student, which I'm trying to live now, who knows who I'll be in the next 3 or 4 years or so. Who knows, right? That's why we live. And that's why we're living true. Because at the end of the day, it's really the friends we made along the way. And the great teacher Onizuka taught me not just how to live, not just how to be present, but to finally be me. But yeah, that's peace out. Always know what's up. Let's respect. In case you don't see me, homies, you won't see this me wearing this again in a long time. But yeah, in case you don't see me, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.